UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, former NFL quarterback.
29-year-old Sean Salisbury, his second start as a National Football League quarterback.
All right, welcome in UNPAVED. Sean Salisbury, Adam Sager, Makai Lemon, USC receiver, who's going to be a great player. He updates us on maybe a little body language. We're going to get to that and much, much more today. NC2A tournament underway, upsets obviously. And Siena gave Duke a little bit to think about moving forward. Probably a great wake-up call. Damn, had him, but the size difference, Segs. We'll get to that later in the show. A lot going on. Obviously at the Texans and the Philadelphia Eagles still going on with the A.J. Brown stuff. We got a lot to. And Kyle Whittingham, but we're going to get to that on Monday. Just a teaser heading into Monday about, well, when you leave a school, this is my words, it never is, unless it's a health issue or you're 105 years old, Segs, and don't want to do it. It's never mutual, but we'll get into that on Monday. This is a little teaser as we head in. And before we get to Makai Lemon, I do have to say a couple things. One is, and it's going to fly by and it's going to miss because social media, they're going to talk about it for a few minutes and it's going to go away, is 700 affiliates. CBS News Radio is stopping operations in May. That's 700 affiliates. Now do the math of how many people. From Mr. Morrow all the way down, to now, I want you to think with social media, some really good impact and a lot of it horse shit because we don't know when somebody posts something, if it's real or if it's not. Journalism by its standards, we've seen the print stuff go damn near completely away. Sakes, newspapers and magazines are just stuff. Newspaper, you know me, Sakes, when we first met, every single day I'd bring in the USA Today and a paper or two in and read and mark up the paper. That was just, what, Sakes, a decade ago?
Yeah.
Where I was doing every day. And
every
so
day.
With that, I just want to send out, I know there's cuts and every job goes through it, but to our media friends and to the news business, it's going to pass Segs and people can say, oh, what a bummer. Now it's going to affect the people who have jobs that got to go look for new jobs, either in the news business or something else. And that's my, thoughts for them, that it sucks anytime anybody loses a job. But I saw that this morning. They are could you imagine a time when a decade ago you said, social media, we get our news quickly. CBS News Radio is just going away. Yeah. It's obviously not a profitable thing, but don't tell that to the people who've been grinding on journalism. And it's just another knock on the journalistic integrity that we go through, that we'll go to every swinging dick on social media and trust some of them, which we should, and then try to trust some others, which shouldn't be because it's fake news. So thoughts with all those that are going to go through that. And Segs, I got to just read you one thing you're going to get a kick out of real quick. And I don't normally do this in a bitch fest because I know people have it far worse that are dying and can't get medical help, that are going through far worse than me. Mine's kind of with the smirk thinking, insurance companies, Segs, are so full of shit. Oh, I'm sure you've gone through it with whether it's taking your kids to an appointment, what they do and don't qualify for. So this isn't a bitch fest because I know so many, you got it far worse in certain situations. So my thoughts for you on that. But Segs, I go, I've had to have my nerves burned in my back after 20 years of college, high school, and NFL football.
Right.
There's been a bunch of surgeries, and I've actually had back surgery and neck surgery before. So I'm scheduled for an MRI because my back needs it. And I'm talking about needs it, Segs.
Yeah.
So I have an appointment to go get an MRI. they say, well, we have to cancel your appointment. I mean, we're going on 2.5, 3 weeks now. They had to cancel it. And an MRI, if you go in there and pay out of cash, if you go to the wrong one, they'll charge you $2,000 or more. Wow. Some 500. So I'm just telling you, I've seen it on the sheet. It's nuts. If you're in the MRI business of the machines or in the insurance, you're printing money. If you're taking hand-to-hand cash or insurance money. Well, they canceled my visit the morning of because United Healthcare, sorry, I just got to call you, they haven't cleared it. It was pending. So I get a note in the mail. They're professional, the way they write it up to you.
Yeah.
We received a request to review your healthcare services. Now I need back. Sure.
You need it.
Yes. And after the review of information submitted and your plan documents, it was determined this service is not medically necessary. 20 years of tackle football. I've had a problem before where I've had to go get it. The one thing you always want to avoid anybody who's had it or anybody who's been around somebody who's had it is invasive back surgery. So I've done everything I can. You burn the nerves. They do I can't even remember the name of it, but it's a nerve burning. Basically, burn the nerve. 3 years later, the roots grow back. You got to do it again to try and do everything you can with rehab to get rid of it. But I'm medically saying, just want you to know that they know sitting in their office, United Healthcare, that I don't need back surgery, or it's not even surgery, that I don't need an MRI for my back. Although my profession says back surgery's got written all over it. But what the hell do I know? So that's how I start the day, and I'm still happy because I laugh at this because, I'll contest it and eventually it'll work out. But then I start to think about those people who you'll tell somebody who's literally got a life-threatening, it's not medically necessary. You're dying, but it's not medically necessary. Mine's just a back, but I just laugh at it. Man alive, brother. We got our priorities backwards in this country, but there you go, my man. It's good to be on with you today. And we got a lot to talk about, including our USC Trojans and the Texans, and a lot going on across college basketball. And what yesterday and today are the two best days in, as I mentioned, weekdays in sports.
Can you hear me? I think I froze.
Yeah, okay. Your face is frozen, but you know what?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. There we go.
There you go. You're good. Yep.
Yeah, no, I completely understand the whole medical. I've got.
I just want you to have a good laugh to start the show on a Friday.
No,
I'm not medically worthy of that of an MRI because of 20 years of football didn't do that to you. So,
it's funny you bring it up because I think it was a couple weeks ago or so. If the people don't know, like 5 years ago, I went through COVID, very bad case, was in a coma for months.
Actually scared me, Sig. That was
they gave me a 10% chance to live, basically, is what it was, and fought through it. And I've been on oxygen since. Like I'm on it at night. I have to sleep with it, and then I need it as needed during the day. And
as the percentage of oxygen goes up for you, as you continue to rehab and go through. You almost had to relearn how to breathe and stuff, didn't you? Say
everything. You had to relearn to walk, talk, all that. But anyways, so not too long ago, we got a call from the place that gives us our oxygen for myself, and they said, "Oh, we think you're done with it. You don't need it anymore." Didn't get a doctor's, request or anything. I mean, I go to the doctor every 3 months and they tell me like, okay, you're still here. So you still need the oxygen at night. And because basically I stop breathing at night. So I need the oxygen.
It's not like you want to be on oxygen to sleep, right?
It drives me insane because half the time I wake up, it's like wrapped around my neck and, I've got to untwist everything. But yeah, they called me a couple weeks ago. Yeah, you don't need that anymore. You're done with the oxygen. Go ahead and send it back. And I'm like, wait a second. My doctor just told me 2 months ago that I need to stay on it at night and need it during the day as needed. And it's just the medical professionals that tell you what you need like that. Just give you a letter or a call. Yeah.
From their office while you're gasping for air and dying and man, you're good. Well, why don't you come spend a day with me and you tell me how good I am. It's crazy. Somebody's going through paperwork saying, he's been on it for a handful of years. A guy who was 10% dying. The only reason he's alive is by good blessings, good family, the good Lord, and he's just a stubborn son of a bitch. And the 10%, you're stubborn. That's a good thing when it comes to that. But no, Segs, listen, I just want to let you know I work for the insurance company. And we have determined from our office in New York,
Right.
or wherever your office
Never
is
talked
for your
to me.
company. Yeah, well, I haven't talked to you. We just looked and said, you've been on it long enough, dude.
It's done.
If you quit breathing, are bad. But other than that, man, I hope you're okay. I mean, how stupid are these people? But man, what a racket that is. So you want to get rich? Be in that business. Yeah, no doubt
about it. The amount of money that the medical insurance and companies and stuff make. I mean, seeing my bill from when I was in the hospital for over 90 days and just seeing what, like it was well over $10 million of what it cost me to be in there.
Hence why I'm smirking at my back, bitch.
Yeah.
My complaint. When my partner, as I well know, because I was, we had, and your wife, we had talked all through the time when you're in the coma. Yeah, always to make sure you're okay and what you needed. But you battling through that and beating the odds and now thriving again. But still, that's why I smirked on my side. I'm not going to bitch because somebody listening to this is going through worse times, including my partner. And I'm glad you shared your story that I would never have shared until you felt comfortable sharing it.
But it's just the fact that they tell you
$10 million.
They tell you what you need. And the best part is you've experienced it having surgeries on your knees and back and everything. When you're in the hospital, they bring you like a Band-Aid and it's like, oh, we got to scan it. So it's, here's $3.99 that we're going to charge you for this Band-Aid. And every little thing, it's insane that they walk in and it's like, oh no, we're not scanning to make sure that we know what you got. We're charging you every single time.
You want me to see red?
Yeah.
Walk me into a doctor's office or the hospital that you're sitting around waiting and they're telling you what you need, or if you're dying or something.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, you got to sign this paperwork. No. I'm telling you, you see, not just on TV, that shit happens in real life.
Yeah.
And before my knee replaced, dude, they were in there, had me prepped. This is just a smirk as well. But you want to talk about seeing red? You're frustrated. You're on medication. You're in pain. They checked me and put me there. Please say, doctor, be right with you. 7 hours later, he showed up.
Yeah.
Well, we had to give somebody else. I said, yeah. Well, how about I come back tomorrow? I mean, it's just, that frustration because the anxiety kicks in about the replacement anyway. But if you'd have told me somebody else wasn't breathing and needed oxygen, I got no problem. But I'm in the orthopedic area. Somebody's knee was, just somebody walked out and tell me, can I get a burger around this bitch? Okay. Right. So, but much respect to the medical profession, but not a lot of respect for some of the insurance profession that told you can't breathe, but you can't get oxygen. And my minor part of, you can't have back surgery, Sean. You're not it doesn't medically need it, but 20 years of my profession. Then I'm going to tell somebody who writes with a pen that they're not necessary to use a pen because, well, you know what? It just medically is not needed. People are nuts, man. But anyway, to the Trojans we go, brother. The bitch fest is over.
A couple weeks ago at the Combine, video came out of Makai Lemon, arguably the best wide receiver in this draft, of him talking and kind of, it seems a little weird when he talks, but people are talking about, oh, is it going to cause his draft stock to fall, or the way he runs? He still runs plenty fast, but the way he runs doesn't look right. So, that's going to cause him to fall, and all this talk around Makai Lemon. Yet, dude's a badass wide receiver and can help.
Yeah, gets results.
In the NFL. So not worried about that, but he addressed all this stuff that we've heard over the last couple of weeks. And here's what Makai Lemon had to say.
Grounded amidst all the noise and leading up to the draft and the process and all the distractions, everything like that.
Yeah, definitely. I just let the media talk. Let the outside, form their opinion. Just me and myself. Keeping my faith in the Lord, and that's all I can do.
How do you feel like being your authentic self played well with teams at the Combine?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going in there, being myself. Don't want to be nobody else, trying too hard. So, just going to be myself, that's what all it is.
I think he wants to be himself. He expressed that enough.
And
he wants
to be himself. Yeah. No, I don't know. That's why I asked, but I get it.
He said it 13 times in that 20-second clip. But no, he's right. I mean, who cares what people think? As long as those guys in those meetings, one team is all it takes to believe in you. You get your draft pick at 12, 13, 8, whatever it is, and then get in there, put in the work that he does every single day at USC since he's got there, and become one of the best wide receivers in the league. And he's got that capability. And I think it also could have been, the way he was talking, he could have been nervous. A lot of people around, big event. We don't know how people speak in public. This is a smaller, contingent, I'm sure, of reporters that he knows from his time at USC, and it allowed him to be himself a little bit more. And there's nothing that is concerning. Now, if he wants to fall to say, pick 25 in the Chicago Bears and, Ben Johnson wants that weapon, I mean, sure, he looks awful and the way he runs is terrible, but pick 25 is where he should fall to, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, Segs, first in the running part of it, I didn't know we were hiring a track team and we were basing things on form for a commercial that we're doing. We're doing a commercial. We want it to be perfect form. Well, then they'll go hire Usain Bolt. We'll get that. When it comes to presentation, he's also not going to be the White House press secretary.
Yep.
It's okay. And you're going to get somebody. I haven't even read him, Segs. I guarantee. You know how the sun was in his face? Some are going to say, why are his eyes closed or close to squinting when he's talking? Well, if he put sunglasses on, people would bitch, why are you wearing sunglasses during an interview?
Yeah.
Take the sunglasses off the sun so the camera can pick up your face. Oh, well, we got to do this. Listen, people, if you want to find something negative, you'll find it.
Yeah.
The way body language, the way he looked, and the knows, and the fact that he's just being his authentic self. He's a football player that's productive, seems like a good kid, doesn't feel the need to have to validate and get approval from others. And you're exactly right. Some are more nervous, some are polished in front of a camera, some aren't. I know one thing, when he lines up, I've never heard a coach say a negative thing about it. I haven't heard a player dog him out that played with him or what kind of teammate he was, or that he was lazy or didn't put work in or showed up late. The fact of the matter is, if you want to judge him by what kind of speech or press, then maybe along the way, you hire somebody like a million guys do, Segs, to be more polished with the media, because some just aren't used to it. At SC, it heightens. It's Los Angeles. You're going to be a number one pick. But if he was a great speech giver and an awful football player, I'd have more validation of why you wouldn't draft him in the first round. Exactly. We look for shit in the media and just so we can have something to banter about. I'm just telling you this. He's getting drafted in the first round. Watch the tape, because it doesn't lie. The guy is not a good football player, a great college football player. He's hoping his guy that he looked up to, Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he has the same production as he does, well, then guess what? He's going to have a great NFL career too. So I like the fact that he approached that way. If you don't like his body language, then you know what? Call and see if you can start a business and teach him how to stand up there and have better body language if that bothers you or what he says. And sakes, not everybody that's great in front of a crowd. Think about your golf game, Sakes. You and I play golf. We played golf together. Mm-hmm. You and I are comfortable with a mic. How comfortable would you be if you and I at noon at a Pro-Am had to step up there, we were playing, and the whole crowd was there watching and 2 feet from us? Would you be a little more uncomfortable in that setting, even though you play golf? Right. Yeah. So even though he played or get up and get interviewed all the time, some just aren't comfortable. He looks fine. He's got his own thing. And to me, they're going to draft him on what kind of teammate he is, what kind of work ethic he puts in, and his production. And none of those have been in question. Simple. Makai Lemon's just fine. And yeah, if he falls to you at 25, Segs, you need to, stop down everything, thank your lucky stars, and just say, life's going to be great in 2026, because my Bears we're fortunate again. Guess what, buddy? He ain't falling there, regardless of what he said at the combine or his running form. He puts up numbers and he's productive, and that's what they're looking for, most likely or close to being the first wide receiver taken in this draft.
Yeah, definitely a top 15 pick. I think, he has as much upside as Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson, who are the other two, top half of the first round type wide receivers in this draft. So, I mean, any team that gets
a finisher, Segs.
Yes,
he's a finisher. When the ball's in the air and it's near him, he's a finisher. He goes and gets it, and that's all. As a quarterback or a coordinator or head coach, that's all I care about, and being a good teammate and work. And he's got all three of those in his corner.
Yep. Any team that gets Makai Lemon is winning in the NFL draft. All right. Moving on to the Texans. New Texan safety Reed Blankenship, who came over from the Eagles, talked about basically his signing with the Texans and why he signed with the Texans and left Philly. And this video we're about to show left Eagles fans not happy about the comments that he said. So let's hear from Reed Blankenship on why he signed with the Texans.
Free agency, so I really didn't know how it worked. But my agent was giving me live updates, and it seemed like Houston was always the top team, keeping in contact with my agent. And I guess it's this new thing now where teams have the ability to call 5 players during the free agency. So I got a call from D'Amico, and just hearing what he had to say, and I could tell that he wanted me, and I could tell that he really liked me as a player. And obviously we haven't met truly in person, but I feel like he knows what my character is and what my personality is. So you could tell that he really wanted me and really liked me. And after we hung up, I was with my wife, and I'm like, I really feel like Houston really wants me. And that honestly felt like the first time in my whole career, NFL career, that somebody really wanted me as a player and as a person to come and perform for them.
What was the?
So here's what I don't get why people are mad at him. He didn't say in that. Now I didn't hear if there's 20 more answers to it. We just focused on that because the leaving Philly and going there. One is I do find the front part of this odd, or at the end I should say, but this answer, and maybe that's the way it is nowadays. I don't know if I would ever make a decision on a team or our career based on talking on the phone. I'd want to meet the boss. It's just when he said, I haven't met him in person. It was phone. Maybe that's protocol now. I would just think that you're leaving a really good team to go to a really good team, and he cares. And maybe you were just so convinced over the phone that you could feel the vibe through the phone, and that's or a Zoom, which one it was. He said phone call, but which is fine. I would just think you'd want to fly a guy in, or he'd go in and want to shake hands, because go on a Zoom right now. I know it's all this COVID stuff started all this, but I can tell you this: if you're making a presentation, while it's fine, people are afraid to be face to face. Most people, I am far more comfortable at closing or being around people in front of them than I am. I figure out more when I see their face than I do on a phone call. But it worked for him. But I don't know why. So I get it's a little different for me, because I would, especially a guy I'm investing money in, I want to, regardless how much, I'd like to meet you, because maybe the personality is different than on the phone, because you're going to tell everybody everything they want to hear if you want them, or if you're the guy who wants to go there, you're going to tell them why. He didn't say Philadelphia treated me shitty. He never made it, unless he did some other point in time. But that clip, I'm referring to this clip. I never heard him say anything bad about the fans. I never heard him say he didn't like, Nick Sirianni. I just heard him say that he felt that they liked him more. It's the first time in his career. What's wrong? He may have gone to Philly, but didn't know how much they loved him while he was there. I tell high school kids this all the time, Segs, and it applies to free agents. It applies to any job. It's not just how much you like them if you're the player going there. I tell a high school kid, well, I always ask them, where would you love to go? What's your dream team? And they'll give you a university, and usually it's their team that their dad or mom brainwashed growing up or what have you. And then I'll say, we'll talk, and you start to go through it, and I'll say, that's fine, and that's a great goal to have. But along the way, then 2 years, 3 years later, when they get to the point of making decisions, they're going to make the decision. I'll just give insight if they ask questions. I always say, go where you feel loved, where you know they love you, not just that you love them. It's got to be a two-way street. Because a lot of guys will go where they want to go, but if the team kind of likes you but has a scholarship they like, you think you can be good, but you're replaced. You want to feel when you make these decisions like it's the most love you ever had. And Segs, it always happens. You leave one building and go to another. All athletes, they'll always talk about how much love they feel from the new one. And if they had love both places, and at the end of their career, they'll thank Philly or thank Pittsburgh or thank Miami, and that's it. So to this, I just don't know why people are mad at it. He didn't say they didn't give me the love I deserved. He just simply said the Texans made me feel like they really, really wanted me. That is not negative. That's just a good feeling for all of us to have when you're leaving a job or changing jobs. So I understand, Philly, those fans are passionate. They get after it. They want everything. But guys can still play well and enjoy where they were and go somewhere else. Some guy that's married or a woman that's married, we loved each other. The love, maybe we became friends, we got divorced, and I feel like this person loves me more. You go get married again. I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't know why we'd be mad. I didn't hear a derogatory word come out of his mouth other than he feels like the Texans and DeMeco Ryans really, really wanted him.
Yeah.
Apparently, Philly didn't sign him, so they didn't want him as much as the Texans this time around. And he probably felt really good about the Philadelphia Eagles when he first went there, playing for them and playing good football. So to me, this is much ado about nothing nationally if they're pissed off at him. And it's a good get by the Texans because it adds depth to them and seems to me like a hard-nosed good what I've seen on tape. And as a guy, from my vantage point, I didn't find anything that was a knock on Philly. It's just a thumbs up to the Texans. What's the big deal?
I think there's a couple things here that, for me, give the take of why. First of all, it's Philly. They get pissed about everything. If you leave their team, they're pissed. So they're going to find any little thing. And we know Philly fans are one of the loudest fan bases when it comes to social media.
They take it personal when you leave them. And I get it, but it's still, they do it. They take it as personal as any fan base because they want you to be a Philly or an Eagle or a Flyer for life.
Yes.
And that's just the way they feel.
And so I think that's the big thing here. It's just Philly fans being Philly fans, trying to attack a guy for leaving and saying nice things about the team he's going to. That's what I chalk all this up to, is just Philly fans being Philly fans. And we know while they're one of the best fan bases in sports, they can also be one of the worst with the way they act. So that's where it comes to me that it's just that. And you're right. It's just a guy saying, hey, they called me immediately when free agency started. I was one of their 5 phone calls. That's new this year, that you can actually call guys during the tampering period. And he felt good about it. He felt good about the vibe on the phone, like you said, with DeMeco Ryans. And
what's wrong with that? You know when you know, right?
Yep. And on top of it, they're one of the best defenses in the NFL. You get to join that and become a part of that and play the style of football that they get to play, which is physical. And as a defensive back, you want to be physical. So, I mean, I think everything just hit right for Reed Blankenship, and he's added to maybe make them the best defense in the NFL.
This will go away quickly. Yeah. It's off season where everybody's looking for shit to talk about. And Sage, remind me and our viewers, like maybe next week or something, when we get back to talking about stuff like this. I think I've shared this story with you when I was at the Super Bowl. Speaking of Philly fans, who I love their passion. I've told you this. So I love their passion.
Yeah.
So like any fan base, there's always a few that are dumbasses.
Right.
They may have more, but they are passionate about it. And quite frankly, it's like that. They just listen. And I mean this is a compliment to East Coast. I grew up on the West Coast, and I'm not dogging that there's good fans out there and good fan bases, but I'm just going to tell you, you're in a city that it's different, but the passion in Chicago is similar to East Coast passion. I don't know what it is, but I'm just telling you, Boston, Philly, New York, whether you like them or not, their fan bases, go on a radio show. They'll get 40,000 text messages in 2 shows. I'm just telling you, the passion, whether you like them or not, I don't care if you like them. And I'm just telling you from a guy who spent time there, played in their stadiums. You know how much I love the Red Sox. I've done shows on EEI before. Their media is passionate. They're opinionated. They like to fight and scrap like Philly fans. Every fan base has the guy you want to punch in the throat and slap upside the head. But I'll take passion and their expectations. If you don't make excuses and you play hard, they'll normally back you. They really will. So I like it. But I can tell you, every now and then you'll run into one. And in a coat and tie one year at the Super Bowl in Jacksonville, in Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. In a full steak. I think I shared that with you. The bad mouthing and cussing in front of women and everybody that's in there at 11 o'clock at night after Sports Center. I simply there was 3 of them at a table, and I gave an open hand, just kind of, hey, what are you going to try? I was answering their questions kindly, and then they kept chattering and chattering. Finally, I got up and my agent says, Sean, don't do it. I said, I got this. So I walked over there kindly, and they kept going. I said, guys, I don't know what, and I was kind. And to make a long story short, one guy took an open hand bitch slap to his face so quick. Dude, the cartoons when the teeth fall out, they chatter away, dude. And then they proceeded to get escorted out of the building. And the general manager of the building walked over to me and says, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And this was back then. And then I went back, sat down, took a drink, and we went back into conversation. And my he was an executive producer for SportsCenter at the time. My guy Mark Summer, his eyes got big. He's a little short guy, but a great dude and a great boss. He looked at me and goes, I loved that. He was like, dude, I tell you, it was one of those down here and open, and it was like, I thought his teeth were going to fly out his mouth.
Yeah.
2 cops walked in, escorted him out the building. We finished our steak and went about our business. It was a passionate, dumb Philly fan. Most of them are really good. They're passionate. You get into a conversation with them, you're good. Buy them a beer. In this case, he needed a bitch slap and a Philly cheesesteak shoved down his throat. So, but I got news for you. It'll be a great story for him to keep telling, although he won't tell it very long because guess what? He was on the receiving end of teeth chattering bitch slap.
Yeah.
Trust me. Okay.
Yeah. Somewhere out there is a guy who got bitch slapped by Sean.
Who's got a paw across his, let's see, he was sitting across the left side of his cheek. And you know what? If I met him today, I probably would buy him a beer. Say, different time, different era, all's good. Let's go eat and have a beer. We all get passionate. Just let's probably be a little smarter the next time this happens. So there you go.
Yep. Sometimes you just can't run your mouth, or you got to get dealt with.
And I was in a good mood, dude. SportsCenter was good. It's Super Bowl week. We had a big table of my closest buddies, and I had to send a loud message because I'd had it. Okay, I'd had it, and well, no worse for the wear, brother. All's good. All's good. So
a story we hit on yesterday about the possibility of replacement refs this season if the NFL and the NFL Referees Association can't come to an agreement, could happen this coming season. NFL Referees Association Executive Director Scott Green is, quote, surprised the NFL would consider using replacement officials given the way it went in 2012, the last time where they kind of had a work stoppage when it comes to the referees. And I'm with him on this. I don't think it will happen, but I was on a show, an NFL show, where we talked about this, and it was just like, why do we have to even hear about this? Is the media? This is the NFL is $10+ billion a year company. Take care of your officials. Do what you got to do. Give them, as long as, if they're asking for $1 billion, I get it. I get you saying no. But if they're just asking for a reasonable raise of 2%, 3%, 5%, whatever it is,
even like the rest of the world that deserves one, no doubt.
Every time a new agreement is coming up, you get a little bit of a raise, as long as it's within what you consider a decent raise or a good raise, and it's not going to cripple the NFL, which there's no way it would cripple the NFL because they just keep making money hand over fist, and it's just every year they make more and more money. Take care of your officials, give them what they're looking for, and this shouldn't be a story, in my opinion. So I agree with Scott Green here.
100%. Segs, listen, this is just posturing, not by Scott, by the NFL. They're not. And you talk about, well, why do we do? You're exactly right. We're in the middle of March. You got the draft, all this stuff. College basketball is going on. Just to stay relevant, let's just kind of talk about 5 months from now, or whenever that is, March, April, May, June, July. 5.5 months from now, about what could happen. This is nothing but posturing. The NFL doesn't have the balls, again, to suffer through that. The product right now, they don't want the product to suffer through that. It will get done. Like you said, unless they're asking for $500,000 a referee, they do deserve a pay raise, because you know what? Regardless, they don't, and I know they miss calls. And I told you I would never want to be one. We all criticize them, and they get paid, and they know they're going to get criticized. But in truth, the abuse they take for calls that'll most of the time they do get right. They're going to miss them. Human error is fallible. We know that. Their human error is there. Humans are fallible. It'll happen. But the truth of the matter is, Segs, they get a lot of it right that I'm thinking, how'd they get that call right? And then they miss some that cost you, and we've seen it over the course of time. And I understand the disdain. But they deserve a pay raise for all the shit we're all going to give them. And I got news for you. You don't want the product to look any rustier to start the season than it already does with shortened training camps and sloppy play early on because we don't put pads on very long and we're in and out of training camp so quick. This will get done. It needs to be a priority. Segs, in a much bigger way that affects far more people. It's far more important. Look what TSA is going through. They get hammered, abused. Now look at your airport. You hate TSA now? I know we've all had you really want me to take? Are you serious? I got to go through this. You're going to check and see if it is because I got my knee has got metal in it or titanium in it. But yeah, they're just doing their job. And they take, in the real world, they're taking a ton of abuse. Yeah. It's the real world for officials. They're going to take abuse. They got to go home to a family when everybody, and do I think things need to change and they should have to address the media after game? Of course. But like every other job, TSA agents, you want it to stop? Then fairly negotiate, whoever that is, whatever side. It's the same thing here. I'm telling you right now, there is no way when we open up on a Thursday night this year for the game, there is no way in hell. Is it Thursday or Monday? So we open on a Thursday, don't we?
This year we're talking about opening on a Wednesday. So
there you go. Okay. So if we open on a Wednesday, whatever it is, the opening game, the standalone game that we see, there is no way replacement officials or officiating is. Even if it costs you a little more for the abuse you'd take for the officials and just what the bad PR on your face and the egg on your face you'll take if you're the NFL, within reason, get it done. Scott Green, I'm telling you, you should be surprised. This is posturing. The NFL is not hiring people like you and I, Segs, off the street or backup officials that aren't prepared for NFL pace of play. They're not getting hired. We will have full-time referees there. When I say full-time, the regular referees there when we start this season. Gene Steratore is not coming out of retirement to go ref, although he'd be damn good at it still. He's not doing that. We're not playing an NFL season with backup referees, and you and I both know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Replacement officials. I call them backup because it makes it sound like those guys have never reffed the game in their life, the replacement. The backup or replacement people, we are going with our regular officials when the season starts, come hell or high water.
Yeah. We have a rule change or just an amendment, I guess, to an existing rule in college football regarding targeting. So coming up this season, starting this season, if you get hit with targeting and ejected, the old rule was you had to sit out the first half of the game if you did it in the second half. First half, you were just out the rest of the game. This year, now, if you're ejected for targeting, you don't have to sit out the first half the first time it happens. Now, the second time you get hit for targeting, now you will miss the first half of the next game. What's your take here on the targeting rule? I know we've talked about it before, but do you think they're moving in the right direction? Do you think this is the right way they should do it? Or do you think they should change it completely?
Well, move it in the right direction, but I'm going to make it real simple. You handle targeting and everything that goes on within that game. It doesn't affect the next game unless there's multiple. If you want to get to 3 and you get suspended, that's fair because now we're bordering on dirty play stuff.
Yes.
So I don't want it to affect the next game, whether it's a bad team or whether it's a big team, because you're actually affecting everybody else. And sometimes it's the majority of time they're not intentional. It's a bang, bang play, and the guy gets ejected. It's like, damn, I wouldn't eject him from that game. I'd penalize him, just like you do in the NFL. What a novel concept to have some uniformity. And if it happens twice in a game or 3 times in a season, the next one, or let's say it happens 3 times in 3 weeks, suspend him for the next week. I get it. But one bang, bang play, the guy missed half a game, the next one, stop it. Things happen. That game's moving at fast pace. And, why do we got to muddy the waters? Handle that game in-house. And if it happens 3 times during a season, suspend him for the season. I don't know why I need to suspend him for, if it happens twice now, the first half. If you're going to do it and you're going to use a second suspension that it has to happen in the first half, you missed the third game, the first half of it, then just, to me, then kick him out of that game and let him start the next game. Like, I don't know why we have to do it. Or if you're going to do that, make the next game, make it a full game.
Right.
Then you'll take away the physicality instead of just the first half. Make it a full game. My thing is 3 suspensions equal to 1 game. 3 personal fouls or targeting, should I say, equal 3 of them, and then you miss whatever game it is after the 3rd suspension. Guys, play hard, play fast. Most of the penalties they get on targeting were not intentional or meant to be dirty. It's just bang, bang. And then if you tell them to back off, then the coach benches them because they're playing soft. So there's that fine line. For me, I don't want it to affect the next game unless there's 3. Then it's a full game. And I don't want you to get ejected from that game. You're playing hard. You're a football player. Stuff hits in. Now, if it's determined that there's a guy 4 ways he's out of bounds, Segs, by 6 yards, and you hit him 3 steps late, and you dive at his head, well, then give him the full game suspension now and kick him out because the intent
Yes.
That's what you got to know, intent. And so to me, the targeting, football's a violent game, man. And penalize him 15 yards. If it happens the second time, you penalize him 15 yards again. If it happens the third time, dude, you're suspended for the next game. If it happens 3 times in a game, then you're just an idiot and need to learn how to play football. But they're bang, bang plays. I think we overdo this, and I don't think it's necessary. Hell, 5 years from now, guess what they're going to do? You're going to get fined because of NIL money. They're going to start saying, if we're pros, I'm just going to start fining your ass just and take your NIL money away, regardless of what you're getting. That's never going to happen, Segs. I'm being a bit facetious and hyperbolic, but you get my point. We're at that stage with everything else with college football. We might as well start to treat them like pros. But I don't like you getting kicked out, and I sure as hell don't like it. A half a game suspension the next time. 3 and you get suspended for a game.
Yeah, I had written down how I would like it is basically targeting to be handled like technical fouls in basketball. You get 2, then you're ejected. And then, okay, yeah, if you get 2 more, I had written down, if you get 2 more in a season, you have 4 in a season, you're suspended the next game.
Right,
and not even like that 4th one. If that 3rd and 4th one are in different games, if it happens in the 4th game and the 7th game, you don't get ejected from those games, but it adds up, and it adds up to 4. You automatically miss that next game. Fine, something along those lines. But ejecting them immediately is the dumb part here. For, like you said, we've seen so many hits where a guy, is either diving or he's going down, a quarterback's going down, and the kid just accidentally, his shoulder hits his helmet or something along those lines. It's just, there's too many plays like this that get called that aren't the true meaning of the rule.
Right. And Segs, if I'm a receiver and I catch it, those guys sometimes will catch and they'll put their head down not to take a hit. And then a guy was literally going for the hip, that core area, and the guy catches and protects. And then you go down and both you guys hit helmets and they call. And it's like, well, my intent was to hit him in the thigh pads. But his head went down because he caught and he was protecting himself. So in truth, it's actually the receiver who initiated it, and I get it, protecting yourself. And this guy gets kicked out of a game for this and then suspended for half a game. I'm with you on that.
It's crazy.
If it happens twice in a game, kick him out.
Yeah.
If it happens once in a game, depending on the intent, if the intent's done right, once in a game, you give him a 15-yard penalty and we keep playing. If it happens 3 times, or if you want 3 or 4 in a certain stretch, then you suspend him for a game regardless of who the next opponent is. I just think we're ridiculous that the people that are making decisions, I assure you, aren't Ronnie Lott or you or me or somebody who's played it or playing it saying, well, protect them right. But one kicked out of a game for a bang play that you didn't even, the intent wasn't to hit a guy in the head. To me, it's absurd. This is at least a step in the right direction, but we can even simplify it more where the guys can actually play football, because this is tackle football. And it is a violent game. It's not you're playing, you're titty blocking each other, or we're playing powder puff football. Well, powder puff's probably more physical than the NBA, but we're playing, when I say powder puff, I'm talking about the pillow fight football, Segs. And that's not how we play NFL football. And to run it, and I got news for you. If your edge rusher did that in space and it in 3/4 of the game changes, those disruptors matter. And I know it's usually in the secondary a lot of times in open field tackles, but I got news for you, man. Or on the back end, we can't get guys out of the game. We can't be kicking guys out of a game for a bang play.
Yeah, especially. All right, NCAA tournament, it's going on right now. We had some fun games yesterday. Currently, Texas Tech leads Akron by 5 at halftime. Kentucky up by 4 against Santa Clara. That's got about 12 minutes to go. And then Arizona and Long Island just kicked off. Arizona already up 11 early in that game. But yesterday, you mentioned it earlier in the show, Duke gets a scare out of Siena, who was hot in the first half from 3. And it just, you knew it was coming because Siena, they did not bring in anybody else. They played their 5 the entire game until the end when a kid finally fouled out. But they just ran out of gas in the second half, and it allowed Duke to get back in. And Duke is, learning to play without the young point guard. Their center was also out in Gagba, who's being talked about as a top 20 pick in the NBA draft. So they were missing 2 players, but it's still a 16 seed. You still have the player of the year in Cameron Boozer. You still got Isaiah Evans. Caden Boozer stepped in, the twin brother of Cam. They still have way too much talent to only win by 6 points against Siena in the first round.
Yeah, Segs, and watching that, first off, I don't do moral victories, but in this case, Siena should be awfully proud of what they did.
Yeah.
They're limited size-wise, a major mismatch.
Big
depth-wise, a major mismatch. And why am I losing my mind? What's Duke's coach, Segs?
John Shire.
Yeah, Shire is. I mean, Duke and North Carolina got so many different players spread around as coach. I'm like, yeah, John Shire. John even admitted, he goes, I was out-coached, and we were out-efforted. I mean, effort,
Yes.
and they admitted that in the first that they kind of sluggish their way through, because there is no doubt the mindset was we're playing Siena. And
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but it's just human nature. You allow it to kick in, and it's hard as a coach to go in and say, we're playing a 16 seed. We got to play like we're playing Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Human nature says, right. But I'm going to tell you one thing. When they got in and Segs, just like in football, you let a team hang around, and if it gets down to a one-possession game, you're pissing all over yourself.
Yeah.
You had to extend that lead late because it's like one, and that's one lucky jump shot.
Yeah.
It's not contested, and you are out of the tournament. So it is I'm going to tell you what, for Duke and John Shire's team, they will not go ill-prepared again, because they did not look prepared for Siena. And this is the best thing that could happen. Win close and be questioned and be pushed to the limits. When I say limits, by a team that they did run out of gas, dude. You know what it is? It's like going to Indianapolis 500 or at Daytona. You're going, you need to change the tires. There's 20 miles left or 20 laps left, and you don't pit. Same thing with Siena. And they tried to hold on, they just couldn't. And you're outmanned, and everybody knows it. But moral victories don't sit well with me. But if I'm Siena, I am proud. I am happy for what I did. You pushed the best team by ranking and by seed in the country. And I guarantee you made them nervous. I don't care what they admit. They had to be nervous. And I love that John Shire said, I was our coach, man.
Yeah.
And that's got to fix. But if you're Duke, you're saying we got away with one. We better be prepared for Saturday's matchup and get ourselves going. But good on Siena to push it. Duke is really good, but they were really subpar for about 30 minutes of that game, Segs, or so, or more. Yeah. And good on Siena to hang around.
I mean, even Michigan was pushed in the first half by Howard. Howard was just insanely hot from three. They just were making everything into, Michigan just wasn't running them off the 3-point line like they've done to every team all year long. I think they kind of just said, let's just put a hand up and, eventually they'll miss. Well, first half, they did not miss. It felt like they were making everything. And Michigan's offense was dominant. I think they shot like 67% in the game. I mean, they scored over 100 points, and they pulled away in the second half because they started playing some defense, and Howard started missing some shots. But, Michigan showed why they were one of the best teams in the country in the second half. I mean, they went through a stretch. I think they dunked the ball like 9 times out of 10 baskets. And it was just, they felt like, okay, it's time to take over the game. And they did. And also, like you said, with Duke, that first half, that'll push Michigan and it'll help them. But the big upset was High Point over Wisconsin, and then VCU coming back. What, they were down, was it 21 at one point?
19 points, Segs, yeah.
To VCU. VCU comes back and beats them in overtime. Those were the two big upsets. And I'm telling you right now, Sean, I know I probably sound like a broken record because I said it in football with Luke Fickell, but Greg Gard needs to be fired from Wisconsin. You don't lose. He's either missed the tournament or lost in the round of 64 or 32 every year since 2017. This is Wisconsin. This ain't, you're supposed to make the tournament. You're supposed to make Sweet 16s, and he hasn't done it.
And you're supposed to win this game, too.
Yes.
You're supposed to win
this game, and you don't. It's time for Wisconsin to move on from Greg Gard. And then at UNC, same thing. Hubert Davis, I know you lost Caleb Wilson, but UNC is not where UNC should be. You can't lose that game up 19. You got outcoached. You got outclassed by VCU, a team that you shouldn't be losing to.
Segs, to me, a loss like this and this is no disrespect to VCU, but a loss like this when you are loaded with a lot of times next level players at North Carolina. You're still North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know we're at a time, where a player or two can carry a team. Ask BYU, even though they didn't have enough to carry him through. That dude, the Vance is a freak show. And you had mentioned that in the thing. That guy dresses in a phone booth, but had no help. And on the off, he's so athletic too, with the ball, on the ball, off the ball. He just is. But with North Carolina and Wisconsin, I know upsets happen, but it should never happen when you're North Carolina and you got a 19-point lead second half. Inexcusable, can't do it. And if you're Wisconsin, you talking about missing the old regime right now, applauding, physical, up and they tournament wise, you can't lose the game. And when I say smaller schools, much respect to High Point, good on VCU. We've seen VCU do the. Put it this way: if you're North Carolina, you've seen the movie. If you just go back and watch VCU history about how they come in here and they'll do this to you, and and if we have to keep reminding schools be on upset alert, oh well, not us. We're too good to be on. No, you're actually not. You're actually not on upset alert, especially if you're an 11 playing a 4 or a 12 playing a 5. I mean, 11 and a 6, a 13 and a 4, a 12 and a 5. I understand that you think you're supposed to win by rolling the ball out there. The difference between VCU and North Carolina is that, well, aside from history and blue blood, as far as players, and I know some teams, you're not going to take any of Sienna's players and say they're starting on Duke. Segs, I get that.
Right.
But there's plenty of schools that guys were under-recruited, and they go in a game like this, and they're carrying it on their shoulder, and they play out of their mind. So somehow, some way, you got to get your guys to say, listen, how many more years do we got to do this? Ask Virginia how it was getting beat by a 16 seed years ago. It happens. And when you're pushed to the brink, there's a lot of pride that goes with these guys that don't want to be looked at as you're going to use us as a doormat. And High Point and Siena and the VCU, it's rampant, and it's always rampant early. And unlike the NBA, when a 7-game series, when the best team usually wins, in these upset, you're going to steal one because one or two players decide to elevate their game, and you guys decide to get. And if you wait too long, you rob Peter, you're going to have to pay Paul. And Duke is lucky it didn't happen to them. And North Carolina and Wisconsin both got a taste of what it's like to be a blue blood type program or high, a high revenue / high profile programs, and find a way to get beat by teams that if you played them 10 times, you should beat them 10 times. And they didn't. Good on VCU, good on High Point, good on Siena, and it won't stop there. It'll happen again today somewhere.
Yeah, and with Wisconsin, this is a team this year that beat Michigan at Michigan, beat Purdue at Purdue, walked into East Lansing, beat Michigan State. They beat the best of the best.
What's that, a 1, a 2, and a 3 or a 4 seed? Yeah. A 1 seed, a 2 seed, and I think
and they beat Illinois. I think in Wisconsin. So yeah, you had 1, 2, 3 seed, 4 seed, all there. They beat them all this year, and most of them on the road. And then you walk in, and Greg Gard never ready for the tournament, and that's why at some point, yeah, you could say he's had a great career there, but at some point it's time to get past the round of 32 if you're Wisconsin, and if your coach ain't going to do it in a decade. I don't care the wins he's had this year. It's time to move on. Find somebody that you can go to and that will get this team further in the tournament.
If you're Wisconsin, it's the goal to get in the tournament or the goal to win it? It's
never.
To win it.
Yep. Yes.
No doubt, Seg. So
it wasn't too long ago. They were in the NCAA tournament final.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. They're back to the old school of Banger, just doing their thing with those old school. And they were guys, Kaminsky going to full time there, and the little old school, even though it wasn't real old school, it's still in our recent memory. Who's the best team you saw and best player you saw yesterday?
Best players easily AJ Dybansta, and they lost. Yeah. He was by far the best player on any floor last night. Just
day
the
one,
way he moves. Yeah, just the way he moves and the way he plays.
He'll make an NBA team awfully happy, brother.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Overall,
University. Yeah, forget the opponent. Just the energy you saw, Segs.
Yeah.
I
thought Houston looked good.
Arkansas looks like a team that you like. I mean,
Yep.
I know that they had flashes. I mean, they played good basketball. I don't even have my bracket in front of me. I'm just thinking off the top. And it's not even a matter of a margin of victory. I'm just looking at, did you defend even though you're playing a 15 seed or a 12 seed? Were you hustling? Did the coach the same way where if you turn the ball over, come sit down with me, you're doing something stupid? Or were you shooting free throws? Just the little things that you need to do. But, I can tell you this. There's some 1 and 2 seeds that needed yesterday, or some higher seeds that understand that they're going to have to play better basketball on Saturday and Sunday. Today, Saturday from Thursday's games.
Games I really got into that I watched. Michigan's second half team looked really good. Illinois' second half team looked really good, but they have so many holes. I just don't see how they can get to a Final Four. Illinois, that is. Michigan State played well throughout. Defense got better as the game went on. I thought, I was going to say Virginia, but it's not Virginia. Who was the other? Oh, Gonzaga. I thought played a close game with Kennesaw State, but I think I saw enough from them that says, okay, they can really compete for a national title. Just going off yesterday.
McNeese State had their game going yesterday, Segs, and let it slip away. They had that thing. They had it won. That
was a game. Louisville did not look great. I thought South Florida should have won that game. And then, but the team I was most disappointed in was BYU. I mean, AJ Davanston gives you that game, and nobody else showed up on that team. They were late in that game when they were trying to come back. In the amount of stupid plays that those players on that BYU team made, I mean, and I don't want to put down BYU because they had a great football season. They had a great season this year in the Big 12 basketball wise. But these top recruits keep talking about going to BYU because they're ponying up cash. But if you want to go win a national title, this is why you don't go to BYU, because they'll give all the money to one guy and then just fill in with some other guys, and it's not good enough come March.
Segs, you know what happens? Last night. The second, it's like old school when you got your best player in like boys club basketball, or if you come off the backboard, he either rebounds it and takes it to length, or you get it to him in your backcourt, and all four guys just kind of hang back on defense. It's 1-on-5. Go do your thing, dude. Hang. What do you end up with? It's one play that was late. 35. We ended up with 35 total. Is it you got 30? Oh, we'll get it. We'll just wait down here so they don't fast break us on the other end. But you're playing against the entire Texas defense, and he dismantled him. The greatest quote of the day was Sean Miller. Aside from John Shire talking about him getting out coached, when they asked him during the game, I think it was the halftime interview. He said, coming out, they said, well, how do you stop him? We don't.
Yeah, we don't.
I mean, we can't. He had just flat out admitted the guy's just better than we are. You just have to hope that you're filling in, doing your thing on offense, getting stops on somebody else playing smart basketball.
Yep.
And it was just succinct that it was right. Instead of being, well, we got to double him and we got to keep him off his spot and we got to, try to prevent him from getting a ball in his hands and deny that. He just admitted which coaches should say against great. Yep. We ain't stopping him. We can't. We're not good enough. He's better than everybody else on the floor. We got to find somewhere else to win it. And that's basically, to paraphrase, exactly what he admitted. And he was right, because you would. And while you're watching, you're also saying, while you're defending him, Segs, I wish I could coach that cat. I wish he was on my team. So, yeah, man, I'm with you. He was clearly the best player of the 16 games yesterday, Segs. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, some games that I'm looking forward today. Miami of Ohio versus Tennessee. I think will be a fun one.
Tennessee better be on alert. Miami of Ohio feels disrespected. I'm quite sure, Segs. No doubt.
Yes, they do. Your school's rival UCLA taking on UCF. If UCLA shows up and everybody's there and playing, they're a dangerous team. The problem is McMillan's school does not show up enough. Those kids don't show up enough and come ready to play. And I think that's a lot on Mick. At this point in the season, we'll see how they did show up in the Big Ten tournament. And then they just lost a game that they just couldn't quite finish. So if they could show up in the NCAA tournament, they'd be able to make some noise and maybe get a couple upsets here and get to a Sweet 16. But it's
I've semi-written them off, Segs. I've semi-written them off. not because of UCLA, but because I don't like the up and down roller coaster they put me on. But you're right. If they show up and play their game and they don't want the wrath of Mick Cronin, then you'll see a different basketball team. I don't trust them enough to get to the Sweet 16 is my problem right now. If they do, it'll tell me that they finally bought in here late in the season and put it together tournament-wise, which all it takes is getting yourself on a run and shifting your paradigms. They need a shift if they're going to make an impact in the tournament.
And then a school that struggled when they didn't have Zach Edey. Hell, even when they did, they've struggled in this tournament is Purdue. They play Queens College, which, is a school down there in the Carolinas. It's a team that I don't particularly like in terms of the way they're set up. Braden Smith's good, but he hasn't been scoring. Kaufman Wren is not just a legit scorer. He scores because of hustle and rebounding and putbacks, but I don't know that they have that guy that can step in and lead them to a national title this year like they had with Zach Edey. So
and they're so well coached.
That game. Yeah, Painter's a good coach.
Painter's a really good coach. Yep.
But another team that was a 1 seed and has lost, they've lost as a 2 seed to the 15 seed before. So really looking at that game as well. So a lot of good basketball. Another day of just sitting back, drinking. I took a little break yesterday. Took my daughter to the high school girls softball game, watched a little bit of that, and then came home. And during that break where we get that in between games, and then Michigan started at about 6:30, came home for that, and just started drinking
wings. Put a cold beer in a glass. Got my
frosty mug.
My frosty mug. Yeah, poured it in a little Mexican beer in there, and had that with some wings. It was a good day. About to get after it again, and I still treated it like it's a work day. Thursday heading into Friday. Now Friday heading into the weekend. Yeah, it should be. This will be fun and just a tad bit different. That's for sure. Yeah. But it was a hell of a run, and I liked it.
Fun show today. Great week. We'll be back Monday with Coach JB. We'll talk about the latest with Kyle Winningham and his departure from Utah, the amount of money he's getting, all kinds of stuff with that topic. We'll update you on the latest, who's in the Sweet 16. We'll look ahead to the Sweet 16 and figure out who we like heading into the Elite Eight and Final Four. And then, of course, more NFL talk. Need to start getting into some NFL draft talk as we're just about a month away. Get some guests on to talk NFL draft over the next couple weeks. If we get a Todd McShay or something along those lines of guys that can come on and really, we could target down. We know Fernando Mendoza, but after that, it still feels like we don't know who's going second, third, fourth. We have particular players, but who's going where? So we can start looking into that and who's the best fits. So a lot to talk about, but enjoy your weekend, Sean, of March Madness.
You too, brother. Thank you.
And we'll have fun. Thanks for watching Unpaved, the flagship show of USC football and Houston Texans coverage. Get over to YouTube at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. Like and subscribe. Follow him at Sean Unfiltered, myself at Adam G. Sager. And thanks to Bailey, Laura, and all our listeners and viewers. We'll be back Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central.
Thanks, Lucy. Yep. Peace. There you go. All right.
Unpaved Sean Salisbury here for bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.